Mr. Chair.
The Honourable Hikia Parata.
Mr. Chair, thank you. I thought it would be helpful if I rose to answer some of the concerns that have been raised by members in the House and alleviate those concerns for them. So I want to talk about a number of issues that have been raised in this part of the bill. The first is the concern about enabling principals to be in charge of more than one school were their boards to be agreeable to that. Now, what this provision reflects is the underlying drive of this entire bill, which is how we create flexibility for schools and their communities to make choices that better meet the needs of their children and young people. All children are different, they have different needs, and parents should be able to determine what are the best options for those children. In terms of principals being able to manage more than one school, again, it is not a compulsion, it is not a prescription, it is an enabling of this to occur, it is a facilitation of a choice, it is providing flexibility for those communities who deem that to be the best way of meeting their needs to take up that opportunity. And clearly, no principal who thinks this is beyond their ken would put themselves in that situation, nor would boards who didn't feel that they had the range of skills required for carrying out that responsibility. Now, the member, Jenny Salesa, has identified a remarkable principal who is leading an excellent school and who was recognised through the Supreme Award of the Prime Minister's Education Excellence Awards this year. But because that principal makes one choice does not condemn all other principals to have the same choice. That is a choice the Chief freely makes, but others may wish to make other choices, and what this provision does is enable that to occur. There's also been concern expressed that this would then require principals to become chief executives rather than leaders of learning. Well, newsflash, they already are chief executives. They are responsible for running the budget, their staff, their property, their communications with their parents, and leading the curriculum and all of the teachers within their school to ensure that kids get the best education and they are able to demonstrate that. So I don't know why being a chief executive is described in some kind of disparaging term. They are the chief responsible for executing responsibilities within their school. So again, just to alleviate the concerns of the opposition, no principal is going to be compelled to take up this opportunity, but it's going to be there should a community wish to do so. In the same theme of flexibility, the bill provides for, in this part, for there to be flexible hours. It makes very clear that there need to be blocks before noon and afternoon, but then the school can decide in consultation with its community how they might wish to be a little bit more flexible. Now, we saw that that flexibility worked extremely well in Christchurch, for instance. In fact, with all the challenges that burdened that community, they not only coped but flourished with flexibility, with sharing of resources. And I can tell the House that the achievement levels of the Greater Christchurch region have continued to go up. So they weren't compromised by the notion of flexible hours. Let me come to the point of consultation. Some concern has been expressed by two members tonight about consultation. On the one hand, Catherine Delahunty is concerned that consultation mightn't be wide enough, and on the other hand, Tracy Martin was concerned it might be too narrow and prescriptive. And it entertained the possibility that those involved in commerce who pay tax, which in turn funds schools, might actually also be included in the consultation. So again, to alleviate that member's concern, let me just read out what the actual provision does say in terms of that consultation. It says that a board may vary the time at which one or more half-days take place, for example, by starting a second half-day before noon, if the board, A, has adequately consulted parents, staff, the local community and any other person who the board considers may be affected about the proposed variation and it is generally acceptable. So there is no prescription as to who is in or out of the consultation, Catherine Delahunty. It leaves it to the judgment and discretion of the people concerned, that school and their community, and that's as it should be. And another assurance I can give members is that, as I announced recently, over half of all schools, Mr Chair,
The Honourable Hikia Parata.
over half of all schools now, or catering to 410,000 students, are in communities of learning. And communities of learning, by definition, track an end-to-end pathway from early childhood through primary, secondary, and on to a connection with whatever tertiary options could be made available to young people in that community. Now, that means, as those communities of learning make determinations about what hours work for them, then families who have children in early childhood, in primary, in secondary, will be part of a whole pathway of a community to make a decision about what hours work for them. But let's not resolve from everyday reality now. Right now, it is complex for parents who have chosen for their children to be in different schools to get them all there by 9 o'clock. That's a complexity. It's just on the other side of this particular challenge. Members have been concerned about opening or providing more opportunity for other providers to offer partnership schools or kura haurua. And what this bill also offers is the opportunity for tertiary education institutions to participate in that process. It does not require them to do so, but it enables them, if they wish to take up the opportunity of another option of providing educational choice to communities who might want it. And I'd like to remind the House, if they knew and if they didn't, to tell them that when kura kaupapa were first promoted, the amount of opposition about whether this option should be allowed or not, how it would compromise learning, but good point. And it's not, I'm not questioning which government, the example I'm giving is that as new models have been introduced into our country, there have been opposition at different times. And one of the reasons why our education system is characterised as being a world-leading one is the range of diversity of options, the priority of parental choice, and the focus of ensuring that whichever option it is, young people are getting the best education possible. And that's what kura haurua offer, another option. That nobody is required to take them up, just as no one's required to go to a kura or a state integrated school or a single-sex boys' school. But that parents should have that choice. Why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't we, in this active democracy of Aotearoa New Zealand, provide those choices? So again, Mr Chair, underlying not just this part of the bill, but the others that we'll go on to debate, are these very core principles of flexibility, of choice, of parents being able to exercise that, and of ensuring that there are different models and different options available to young people. And just one final remark about the opportunity for a principal to lead more than one school. We already have examples of that. So, for instance, there are already appointed 26 community of learning leaders whose jobs include leading across communities of learning that can have 6 to 12 to 20 schools in it. And they have taken on those opportunities with their eyes wide open, their energies raised, their enthusiasm engaged, as they focus not only on how they lead learning for those young people, but how they also stretch their leadership ambit. We want more challenges for leadership in our education system. We want to see ourselves growing that quality, because we know that the quality of teaching and leadership make the most difference within schools. So I'm hoping, Mr Chair, that I've alleviated the concerns of the opposition, that these are all about enabling choice. They are not about directing, instructing or prescribing them, but rather choice is available to parents who know their children best. Thank you, Mr